Hi everybody, this is the Baseball Hut, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the People's Champion. Your host, the Hut, and of course this is the Baseball Hut 2, and you should subscribe and like this video. So, before we get into this, I have a channel, believe it or not, called the Prospect Hut. I'll put the link into it. It's basically talking about the Met prospects. Not only that they brought in, but all kinds of players. I have lists of players you can't imagine, but I'll put the link into it. If you like prospects in general, you like Met prospects, that's the channel for you. It's no fluff, it's just me reading scouting reports. And what people think about the players. I've not seen them. But from CBS.com, now of course please subscribe to Baseball Hut too, in the meanwhile too as well. From CBSSports.com, headline, who will be next MLB star traded? 8 players who could move this winter, including Juan Soto and 3 Milwaukee Brewers. The rumor mill never stops long when it comes to Major League Baseball. Ain't that the truth? This channel sure doesn't. We're going to skip all this fluff. You don't want to listen to this crap. This preamble to these different articles. We want to talk about the players that are going to get traded, where they could possibly get traded to, and down the line. Now, that's all we like talking about on this channel is rumors, but really just overall Major League Baseball. Not necessarily the New York Mets. I would ask, as well as subscribing, if you watch this video from the beginning, please watch it throughout the whole video. No matter how many times I stutter and stammer and make a corny joke, I'm trying to get the channel completely monetized. And the more you watch a video, the more time it adds on. But the number one player that could get moved on this list, Tyler Glasnow, right-handed pitcher of the Rays. Glasnow is a brilliant talent who might win a Cy Young Award if he's ever able to stay on the mound for a full season. Unfortunately, his availability has been severely impacted by injuries in recent years, including the Tommy John that wiped out most of his 2022 campaign. The Rays signed Glasnow to a 2-year pact last August that extended their team control into 24 at the cost of $25 million. That's a hefty amount for a franchise that has never fielded an opening day roster payroll with $90 million thanks to ownership-imposed budget restraints. In fact, the Rays have more money committed to their 24 payroll than their 23 figure, and that's without taking into account arbitration prizes or outside additions. Randy Arozarena, who could have made this list, will be among those getting raises. Tampa Bay's front office had discussed Glasnow in trades before signing him to the aforementioned deal. That shouldn't be news. They, along with other teams, discuss most every player at some point or another. We fully expect them to renew those talks into this winter. This time, with greater urgency, I would mention anybody working for one of the 29 teams watching this channel and watching this video, do not make any deals with the Tampa Bay Rays. They trade away damaged goods. If they feel Glasnow can't help them, he's done. Don't make a deal. Don't trade any of your best prospects for him. He's already damaged goods anyway. Number 2 on this list, Juan Soto. Outfield for the Padres, left fielder, right fielder. There's no two ways about it. The Padres are disappointed. Oh, you think so? I don't know I don't know what the hell they're doing. They're selling, they're buying, they're in it, they're not in it. And how rumors have already surfaced suggesting San Diego will not be signing Soto to a long-term deal to keep him in town beyond this winter in 2024. Free agency, he's going to get moved. There seem to be a lot of issues with that clubhouse, and he doesn't want to understand. And it seems the rumor is that he's not too happy there. But his bat, he's one of the great hitters in baseball, and he's still only 24, 25 years old. So he's a guy you build your team around. Any team picking him up, you better hope you can sign him for a long-term deal. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of players they're going to get in return, and depending on where they move him to. That is an interesting place for the Padres to be in when it comes to him. Number 3, Shane Bieber. Again, another team, quite frankly, let the buyer beware when you trade with them, because they always sell $1. And they always expect $1.50 or 90 cents on the dollar. They'll trade you a player that they know is done, and they'll get your best prospect. They fleece you. Them and the Rays fleece you. But here, Shane Bieber, whatever possibility there was of Guardians moving him at the trade deadline was erased when he was placed on the injured list with an elbow injury. That's a tough break for the Guardians front office, who was able to move Corey Kluber and Mike Clevenger in recent years before they suffered major injuries. So that's why they were shopping him, because they knew he had a problem. See, there's an example. They knew his value isn't great due to the fact of his health, and they tried to move him before his arm completely broke down. They would have moved him if they could have. You got to be careful with the Guardians, and again, the Rays. Number 4, Corbin Burnes of the Brewers. Burnes is the first of 3 Brewers represented on this list. Each member of the trio is heading for free agency come winter 24. Burnes is listed first because he already had a public dispute with the franchise over the arbitration process that saw him admit it harmed their relationship. He cried about it. And the worst thing a player can do is sit on these arbitration hearings. Basically, they belittle you. They basically tell you everything they need to know on about you, just button nuts and bolts, and that's never a good thing. Even if Burnes and the Brewers had reconciled, it seems unlikely that the pair would be in it for the long haul. He's been one of the best starters in the game since 2020. Barring an injury or an unforeseen development, he should be in line to receive the kind of massive free agent contract that franchises like Milwaukee seldom hand out. That doesn't mean Burnes will definitely be traded this winter. It does mean that the Brewers are probably already planning for life after him. They're going to move him. The fact that their relationship isn't great, the fact that he's going to be entering free agency, he's going to get moved. And I can come up about 3 or 4 teams that are going to be lined up for him. The Dodgers, the New York Mets. The New York Mets will be lined up for him in a big way. We'll get to that in a moment. The Rangers, of course. The Cubs. I mean, maybe not the Cubs are in the division, but you understand. Or maybe the Reds, but then again, they're in the same division. The Dodgers, definitely. The Padres are in every player. But I mentioned the Mets because the rumor is that the Mets are going to hire one of their executives, David Stearns, who was their general manager for a long time. He knows the player. So if the Mets hire him to be head of baseball operations, I would not be surprised if the Mets flip some of the prospects that they brought in from other teams or they have on their system and use those prospects to trade for Corbin Burnes. That seems to be a very good fit there. And since there's a relationship with, hopefully a relationship with Stearns and that front office, it should be able to be a deal made. And the Mets made a deal with the Brewers this trading deadline when they moved Canna for Justin Jarvis. So keep an eye on that. Number 5, Dylan Cease. I don't think Cease is going anywhere. I know they mentioned the White Sox, but the White Sox, I think, are rebuilding, but I don't see them moving him right now. Maybe by the deadline next year or next offseason. He's not going anywhere, in my view. Willie Adames, that's a guy who's going to get moved. If this guy is going to get moved from the Brewers, Adames is the second of 3 Brewers on this list. As with the 2 others, he's headed for free agency after next season. It's unfortunate. It's a shame there, Willie. Then, that he's in the midst of what would be his least productive big league campaign. That's not good. Thanks to a downturn in his quality of contact. Well, that's not good. See, there's an example. The one player that the Rays moved that played well after he left. He actually played better with the Brewers. But now, the downturn. We'll see how he bounces back the last 2 months. Number 7, Brandon Woodruff. Another guy that's going to be rumored to be moved. Woodruff has popped up in trade rumors before. He's starting to populate them again this winter, given that he'll be a year away from reaching free agency. Mind you, the rest of the season is going to be important for Woodruff and the Brewers as it pertains to providing proving he's healthy and reestablishing his value. He's missed most of the campaign because of a shoulder strain. He'll need to prove that he's the same caliber of pitcher that he was before the injury, which is to say a well above average starter with 2 All-Star appearances and a top 5 finish. Cy Young Award balancing to his name. Let the buyer beware of him a little bit because of his injuries. Number 8, Luis Robert of the White Sox. Robert's inclusion is similar to his teammate Cease's. The White Sox are a bad team without a clear pathway to improvement. Like Cease, Robert would fetch a considerable amount of young talent in a trade. That talent in turn would allow the White Sox to jumpstart yet another rebuild. I don't think he's going to get moved right now. Maybe again at the trading deadline, and he has a contract, and so he's not going anywhere. He's there till 2027, so I don't think he's going. I think he's going to stay. I think they like him enough. I'll throw a couple other names in here. One name in particular, I put in Jeff McNeil of the Mets. I I wouldn't include him, but I'll mention Pete Alonso. I believe Starling Marte will get moved. That I can guarantee. The Mets will eat money when it comes to Starling Marte. If they want to get younger, and they've already traded one of their veteran outfielders and Mark Hanna, they'll eat the money with Starling, and he'll be gone. And that's the bottom line. And that's the bottom line. Because the Baseball Head says so. And hopefully you subscribe to the Baseball Head too. Let me know what you think about this video. Of course, please subscribe to the Baseball Head too. And I'll see you later.